Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to Control Shift. We're really thrilled to have the opportunity to share some of the most exciting innovation we've been working on the past few months. So without much further ado, what we're going to talk about is our perspective on how AI is transforming the relationship with your customers. And what we think is there is a shift in the way you can design, oversee, and ultimately control engaging with customers, particularly in support. So Kevin Yang, our head of AI, will take you through our latest front AI feature, and Maggie Lamas, our head of design, will share our reimagined inbox experience designed to help your teams focus more and move faster. And then we'll close with a live Q&A, so you can add questions at any time, and we answer as many of them as we can at the end. Note that the webinar is recorded and shared with attendees afterwards, so if for some reason you need to leave early, you'll be able to have access to the end. And if you're listening to that webinar, hopefully you like it as well. So let me start with a quick intro. My name is Paul. I'm the Chief Product and Experience Officer here at Front. I've joined recently. And then my background, just for a little bit more detail, I've worked in tech for the last 25 years. And one thing that I've really always been obsessed about is how tech can help humans interact with each other to resolve problems. And I worked in and around collaboration and customer support for much of my career, both on the customer side as well as on the tech side. On the customer side, I worked with PayPal for about 10 years. And in 2010, we've done one of the largest deployments of AI agents in the world. Remember, that was before ChatGPT 3.5, so that was like a different paradigm of AI at the time. And then I worked at Booster, where we deployed multi-channel workflows between in-app, SMS, email, with a sub 1 minute response time, and we were able to hit an NPS of 87. On the tech side, I worked at Gorgias, the world leader in e-commerce support technology, and I most recently worked at Superhuman, building the best AI email product in the world for high-volume email users. What I'm really excited to be at Front is that, Front really always stood out for me as a pretty unique product. I was actually a customer back in 2016 at Booster, and what struck me then is still true today. This is a product that is built from the ground up to bring together, on the one hand, hyper-effective collaboration, and on the other, advanced workflow automation. And I think since that time, this is a legacy that we've just built on and built on and built on. And what makes it particularly exciting at this particular moment is that the whole industry is at a turning point. We all know this. AI is reshaping everything, from how your customers engage with brands, how teams collaborate, and ultimately what great relationships and what great support looks like. So the challenge is, on the one hand, CX leaders have to rethink everything, whether it's because you want to be ahead and meet your customers' expectations as they're changing, as they're increasing, whether you're facing a strong mandate from your board, from your execs to do more with less, or whether you just want to keep your organization current and in front of that big wave of change. The problem is, it's far from easy, right? AI has a huge potential to save support teams like valuable time and give customers fast and helpful service. But the reality is that it's not meeting its full potential and has proven to be a liability for many companies. One recent story that I'm sure you've all seen is, Klarna boasted that they would not need humans for support anymore, went on fuel AI, did let go of like thousands of employees in the process. And then in February, the CEO said AI can already do all the job that we as humans do. But then 2 weeks ago, they went public saying that the impact on the quality on the customer experience was actually not something they wanted to live with. And they are hiring for support again and saying that really investing of the quality on human support is the way of the future for us. So I've been on my end, on 1 to 2 customer calls every 2 days since I joined, to explore with you how you're thinking about those questions. And here's what I've learned. First, obviously, those questions are very, very top of mind for you. The excitement about AI is really big, but at the same time, there's really hesitancy and hesitation about how to get to real tangible value. What I've heard is many of you have tried, They've seen that it takes a lot of effort to set it up to match your business. And many of you have given up before the true value was actually manifested. But what I think I've heard the most often is for businesses who want to deliver exceptional personalized service, it's really hard to automate without taking a lot of risk with your customer's relationship. So what it means for us and how we think about it as Front is that whereas most technology providers in the AI space are promising more automation, and we think automation is important, of course, but what we think is that it's not enough. And we think that what's next in CX is not just autonomous AI. Let me explain a bit more. One way to think about it is we all need to do more with less. And to keep it simple, you can see your business as, well, we have roughly 80% simple inquiries and 20% complex inquiries. The 80% inquiries are simple, so hey, we should automate them with AI. And then the 20% complex one, would still be handled by humans. With that, you would think that you automating away 80% of the work done in your org. But the reality is when you look at where your org actually spends their time, the picture is very different. The majority of the time your org spends is already on the complex conversations. The simple ones don't take that much time. And then most AI tools these days tend to be a blunt instrument. They are designed to automate the simple stuff and fail on the much bigger opportunity of those complex interactions. Let me give you an example. So at Front, we're calling it a mistakes-first approach, and that's what we don't want to do. But let me show you what it means. Your customer, Sally, has a question. The bot is trying to answer. Notably for complex cases, it might not have the answer. Sally gets frustrated, ultimately escalates to an agent. And at this point, the agent is able to course correct, but it's too late. The damage has already been done. Sally's frustrated. She thinks your business does not really care about her or about their problem. And what I know from the many conversations I've had with all of you is that that's not the way you want to deliver service. We know how important it is to deliver great service from the start, whether it's via AI or with a human agent. And so that's what we believe that the next big thing for CX isn't just autonomous AI. It is what we call human-directed AI. What that means is instead of just focusing on automating as much as possible at the expense of your customer experience, we believe that the future of CX is giving support leaders the control you need to direct AI where it's most impactful and direct human agents where they're necessary. So that's the control shift we're talking about. Let me show you what it means real quick. Same Sally has a question. Now, the thing that is different with Front AI is Front AI learns all the time what is safe to automate. So if it's, and it knows what are the safe topics that it can handle. So if it gets the inquiry from Sally, every ticket can then be handled by the best resource. If it's a human agent, it gets to a human agent. If it's an automated AI, it can get there, or a combination of the two. And with that, that's how we think that you're going to be able to deliver a 5-star customer experience all the time. So the key to how Front AI is constantly learning with your team happens in a 3-step cycle. The first one we call analyze. Front AI scans your customer conversations constantly to categorize the full range of customers' inquiries. It learns what your customer asks, how your team responds, where automation can make the biggest impacts, etc. And then automatically, it organizes and categorizes them into topics. So think about topics as the reason type for your customers to reach out. And then easily identifies the trends and the biggest opportunities for automation. The second step we call assist. So based on the information from the topic, Copilot automatically suggests the replies to the inquiries for your team to review, refine, and send. So it gives your team a jump start on responding, like they don't need to do all the heavy lifting, but they still have control on if something needs to be changed or if they can just send it right away. And as your team uses and adjusts the AI suggested replies, Front AI constantly learns from this human in the loop what gets barely modified and can just be automated, and then what actually needs a lot of human touch. The last step is automate. As Front AI learns and improves, you will see what are the topics that are safe to automate. And because those are the ones where the suggested replies barely get changed. And those are the ones that will have this full automation so that your customer experience is as good as possible. So instead of a all or nothing approach to either human or AI, Front makes it easy for you to choose exactly what is ready to automate with a full autonomous agent and set aside what should still be routed to your team first. So rather than escalating to humans when AI fail, AI only handles what it's already set up to succeed. So the reason why we're portraying it as a circle is that this three-step process is actually a cycle. Front AI is learning every day from your conversations and giving you the AI-powered tools to monitor and optimize performance and customer satisfaction. So as new topics come up organically, like, I'll give you an example. Like, we've launched our new redesign and customers had questions we didn't have in our knowledge base. Front AI is able to pick up those questions right away, pick up the best answer that our team is already given, and then automating those. So Front can update itself automatically. We've been testing that with early access customers over the past month, and they've expressed how valuable this approach is for their business. So like Santavia, who saves hours with Front AI, they can use the same hours to focus on the most valuable conversation with their customers. So I'm excited to share with you the latest Front AI features we're releasing to give you greater control over AI and increase your efficiency. And as part of this rollout of the all new Front, we're also rolling out new pricing plans to kind of reflect those new capabilities. So the new features are topics. So topics is the ability to help you understand why your customers are reaching out for insight and to power automation. So topics is available on all the new pricing plans and our legacy growth and scale plans. We're releasing Copilot. Copilot gives your team a jumpstart on responses with suggested replies, and they get smarter over time. There's an unlimited usage of Copilot available in the new enterprise plan. And then customers on all of the other plans have a limited usage that is included, and then they can purchase the unlimited usage as an add-on. And then if you remember, for even more AI insight, we've released a few weeks back Smart QA in May that gives you a complete view of your agent performance with an automated AI-powered QA. And we're really excited to share that we're actually expanding that today with Smart CSAT, which is inferring the customer satisfaction using the AI across all of your conversations. So Smart QA and Smart CSAT are both included in the new enterprise plan. And then for other plans, Smart QA and Smart CSAT are both available add-ons. Coming soon, we'll launch the agent to help you safely automate resolutions across all channels. So you can fill out our beta and early access form, probably in the chat, if you wanna jump on the early access route. And then with that, I will transition to Kevin, our head of AI, to actually show you what it looks like. Yep, see you, Kevin.
Great, thanks, Paul. Hi, everyone. I'm Kevin, head of AI here at Front. I joined Front last year, but I've actually been working on this problem of how do you get AI to understand customer conversations for nearly a decade. And what was true, a decade ago as well as now, is that there's a real danger to AI not really understanding conversations well enough. And so, on the next slide, you'll see an example of this where, this is an experience I'm sure that all of you have had where you're interacting with some service and their system generally detects what you're having trouble with, gives you a generic solution. You try it, doesn't work. You try to get it to course correct, but it kind of stubbornly gets you into that corner. And this is a bad experience. And it's one that's very common. And talking to hundreds of you, I understand that this is unacceptable for you. And so that's why today I'm really excited to show you the suite of AI features that Paul just articulated, because these are features that deeply understand your conversations. And what that means is that you can trust them. So with that, let me run through these really quickly. First, what we're going to show you is topics. And what that means is Front discovers the contact reasons that are unique to your business, and then labels conversations in real time with these topics. Next, I'm going to show you Copilot. And Copilot can generate ready-to-send suggested replies. And the way you have confidence that these are right is that it is on the next slide, it is able to show you what are the relevant sources, right? Whether they're similar conversations or they're knowledge articles that you have connected to front. After that, I'm going to show you Smart CSAT and Smart QA. And what this does is it evaluates all of your conversations to see whether your agents are following the norms that you have set for your team, and also what the customer reaction likely is based on their interactions with you. And then finally, I'm going to preview what's coming next, which is the agent. This will allow us to take all this AI that you're building confidence in because you can see how it works, and then just have it act for you. So with that, I'm going to hop off of slides and then actually switch over to showing you these features live. So first, let's talk about topics. So topics are, as I mentioned earlier, the moment you connect a channel or turn on Copilot for a given shared inbox or set of shared inboxes, we will start discovering topics. What that means is we take all the conversations and then look for clusters of them that are similar to each other and then label them. And this, for many of you, you are currently doing manual tagging. Maybe at the end of the case resolution, you're asking agents to label conversations, which is really a task that no one likes doing, having done literally hundreds of thousands of those tags myself. And then the second thing that many of you do is triaging, right? You have agents basically look at conversations as they come in and then route them to the right team. And with topics, you don't have to do that anymore because it just happens automatically. Now, what I did here was, here's a distribution of topics. Clicking on it, you're able to see the conversations that lead to it, as well as a summary. But the way it really automates, it really saves customers a lot of time, is that you can create rules around these, right? So what we had talked about before, suppose you want to route certain high priority topics to your priority inbox so that they're handled first. You're able to easily use Front's powerful automation engine that many of you use today and simply set the rule that, hey, if it is these three issues or three topics, please route to the high priority topic and just save that automation. And we have customers where they were finding like the 40% of the conversation volume going through their teams did not actually get resolved by that team, and they had to send it to someone else. And using this mechanism, they were able to actually just route them to their appropriate team automatically and just never see those conversations. And that saves a tremendous amount of time. The other thing that topics enables is voice of customer. So customer support teams are really at the front line, right? Whenever your customers are trying to buy, use, or troubleshoot your products, like you are the ones that have all the knowledge that the rest of the company needs. But since they've been trapped in the ticket queue, it's actually very hard for the rest of your company to access it. And so you're able to actually go and look at these analytics, get analytics on these topics as well, and become kind of like the strategic driver of what your company should be prioritizing, right? By telling the rest of the company, whether it's product or operations or marketing, what they should be prioritizing to actually reduce the friction points. These are the two main use cases, automation and insights, and both are really powerful. All right, so next, I want to hop over to the inbox, right? So that you can, the shared inbox, so that you can actually look at what your frontline users are seeing. And the example we're looking at here is, let's pretend that I am a property management company trying to rent out properties. And here's a potential tenant that is trying to arrange for property viewing. And so what happens here when the message comes in, as I mentioned earlier with topics, like within a few seconds, the topics is identified and the conversation is tagged. But more than that, what's happening behind the scenes is that we're taking the complex, the long inquiry that's coming in, and we are extracting out the inquiry, which is basically a very simple distillation of what the customer's problem is. And so in this case, they're inquiring about arranging a property viewing. And then what we do is we go and find the relevant content, right? The research that your agents would do. So we go and find the similar conversations that are happening here. Um, and, and here, this gives context about how your agents have handled similar inquiries in the past, as well as relevant knowledge articles, right? And these could be on a front knowledge base or an external knowledge base. Um, and we're able to basically tell you and the AI what the relevant conversations are. And with that, we're able to generate a suggested reply, right? So, the workflow is here. This message comes in. Seconds later, a suggested reply pops up, and it's the citations for the sources are on the bottom. And then for these types of situations, your agents or your frontline users will be able to simply take a quick glance over this, decide, okay, is this right? If so, take over and send. Otherwise, discard it and then handle it, right? And so this really gives rapid acceleration to your team, so that for these questions that your team has answered over and over again, even if it's a new agent, they're just able to answer this really quickly. Now, one thing I really want to call out is that the fact that we use similar conversations as a source here is pretty unique within the industry. And I hear something from many of you that I've spoken to, that you say things like, hey, our knowledge article, our knowledge base is like non-existent, or it's really in its infancy, and we're going to take the next 6 months to really flesh out the knowledge base so that we're ready to use AI. And I think with a front approach, you don't have to do that, because yes, while if you provide us authoritative knowledge articles, that is helpful. We can also work without the knowledge articles and just work entirely off of similar conversations. And that's what Paul was saying earlier about us learning from the conversations you have. Like just yesterday, we were seeing these suggested replies. We did this big launch yesterday with the features we're talking about today. And we were seeing suggested replies popping up within an hour of our support team starting to engage with our customers, and without any new knowledge articles being written, right? So that's a really cool acceleration. The next thing I want to talk about is the agent that's coming up, right? So one thing that we hear from you all the time, especially the 1,000+ companies that participate in the beta for this feature, is that, okay, if the suggested replies are right and our team is accepting them all the time, can you just send them for us? And that is actually what's coming with the agent. That's not live today, but was coming in a couple of months. We will give you visibility into how often your frontline agents are taking over or discarding these suggested replies at a topic level. And with that insight, you will know, all right, for property viewing requests and processes, our agents accept the suggested replies 98% of the time. And so at this point, we might as well just send it, because we're really not adding value by reviewing more and more of these. However, for something else, right, for some sort of dispute or troubleshooting, maybe the AI is not so good because the past conversations are confusing or conflicting, or the knowledge is incomplete. And in that case, the team can take that as an action item of, okay, maybe this needs to be handled by a human, or maybe we should do more work to give the AI the context to properly respond to this, right? And so that's one capability of the agent. The other capability of the agent is that many of you have actually already been using, for instance, macros or bot flows, where you're able to encode the standard operating procedure for a given type of situation, whether it's like a refund request or like a request to change information. And as you know, what you're able to do in these bot flows is to create branching logic, but also connect with third-party systems like your inventory system or your CRM to read and write from those systems. And so the other thing that we're doing is allowing you to take this existing automation framework and then connect that back to our AI agent so that the AI agent can properly choose the right workflows to run, as well as actually execute them. And again, the fact that we have topics gives you clarity about in what situations you want the AI or automation to run, and in what cases you want to handle it with your own team. And so that's coming soon, but that's just the logical conclusion or logical extension of the Copilot. All right, so next, I want to hop over and talk about Smart QA and Smart CSAT. So we're looking at an example here where a customer is writing in, asking about a feature that's really important to them, but one that we don't actually have. And so here our frontline agent, right, does his best job, tries to respond to the customer, professionally explaining that we do not have this feature and giving context here. So in this case, the agent did everything that he was able to do. And so against our rubric, right? And so Smart QA, every company is able to specify what their rubric is. And in this example, we have said we care about comprehension, solution offered, professionalism, readability, and grammar and spelling. And the AI will evaluate this interaction against this criteria, right? And for basically every conversation with enough context. Now, of course, like as the supervisor, you're able to come in here and edit it, both the reason as well as the score. But the point here is that it is really time consuming as a supervisor to manually review these examples. And as a result, manual QA only covers something like 2 to 5% of the total conversation volume. And then it's on that small sample set that supervisors are trying to coach their frontline users to be, or their agents to do better, right? With Smart QA, the difference is that you're actually able to evaluate 100% of the conversations. And then now the leaders do not have to spend time manually reviewing these conversations, but can instead kind of look at this map and say, all right, over here, this is an area of improvement, right? And they also don't have to worry about this being based on a tiny sample of conversations because we've evaluated all the conversations, right? And so this really like modernizes this QA experience. And also, down the road, when AI is starting to do more of the work, this type of mechanism will also ensure that not just your human agents, but AI is also following the conventions that you have, the norms that you have, right? Going back to the conversation, the other new feature that we're launching, or we just launched yesterday, is called Smart CSAT. And the distinction between Smart QA and Smart CSAT is QA is what does the agent do? Whereas CSAT is how does the customer feel? And in this situation, the agent did a good job. They did what they could, but this is still really important. This feature is still really important to the customer, and they are disappointed that the platform doesn't support this feature, and because it's critical for their projects, right? And this is really valuable because to kind of separate out like how your customers feel about your overall business and product versus what the agent did. And the way companies do this right now is they run manual CSAT surveys. But as you know, the response rates are low, and the responses tend to be just fives or ones. And whereas logically, you know that the distribution should be more normal. And what we have done is we have built this Smart CSAT feature, so tested against big data sets of manual CSAT, so that we know that our Smart CSAT survey inferred CSAT aligns with manual CSAT 90% of the time. But now you actually have data on all of your conversations. And the really cool thing is that if you think about CSAT scores coupled with topics, all of a sudden you now know what are the topics that are driving the most frustration from your customers, independent of what your agents are doing. And this becomes super powerful when you're trying to advocate to the rest of the company, right? To product or marketing or operations team to change something about how they do things, right? And this will continue on the path of topics of turning support into a strategic driver rather than the old connotation of being a cost driver within a business. So with that, I want to pass it over to Maggie to talk about the great work that we've been doing on changing the experience.
Thanks, Kevin. Hi, everyone. I'm Maggie, the head of design up front. I hope you all enjoyed getting the first new look at the inbox experience. For our current customers especially, I'll be sharing a quick look at our design thinking and walk you through some of my personal favorites from the redesign. It's been about over 4 years now since our last redesign. And with our ambition to be the next generation customer communication platform, our design really needed to level up as well. So you may ask, why now? Over the past few years, we've introduced a lot of power into front. AI to speed up workflows and reduce manual effort, flexible ticketing to support more organized customer operations, and deeper context, thanks to integrations and connectors. But all of that functionality came with some trade-offs. Things started to feel cluttered, harder to use, so we knew it was time to reset the UI and start addressing some of that user experience debt that we had incurred. So we heard the same themes again and again. Things feel too dense, or I don't know where to look when I open up front. Even our most valuable features were adding friction. So this redesign is really about clearing that path, making the product feel lighter, more intentional, and easier to get work done. All right, we were grounded in 4 key principles. First, clear prioritization. We've organized your individual workspace to help you zero in on what matters most. Second, faster context. We've streamlined the conversation header, so most of the valuable information that you need is always at the top, easy to grasp. Third, enhanced focus. We've created a lot more visual breathing room and new ways to collapse what you don't need. You can clear out distractions and stay in the flow while you're reading and responding to your customers. And last, built-in efficiency. We've really leaned into shortcuts as a power tool. They're now easier to find and use within the product, and it gives your teams much faster ways to navigate and get things done in front. All in all, this wasn't just about a new UI, it's about helping teams work with more clarity and more confidence. So the new inbox is now on by default for all customers. That said, we know change is hard. So there's a temporary toggle in your profile menu, which you can switch back and forth during the transition period. As for us, we're going to continue collecting feedback and shipping daily improvements from here on out. Okay, now it's time to jump into the live demo. And get situated here. I hope everybody can see my screen. So we'll start with maybe just, again, to ground everyone in like at its core, what the redesign is about. It's really about helping you move through your inbox with less clutter and a faster path to inbox zero. So we'll start with the sidebar navigation here on the left. This is now your new central hub. Everything that was at the top bar before, so your calendar, your contacts, your search is now here in this one consolidated area. You can also see your profile and your settings down at the bottom left, so they're still accessible, but out of the way. You can now also create a message, discussion, task, or even call from this one unified button. And yes, tasks is a new feature, great for tracking follow-ups within your team. As I mentioned earlier, we've really leaned into shortcuts. They're now more discoverable in dropdowns. And actually, I've spoken to a lot of our beta customers that have never used shortcuts before and have been claiming that they've been flying through our app, getting to calendar, analytics, even search. So we highly encourage you trying out shortcuts when you get a chance. Okay, now for the bigger shift in how your work is organized. So you can see here, we now have 3 key sections: open, later, and done. Open is still your active workspace, where you'll find your familiar assigned to me conversations, subscribed conversations, personal email. Later now houses both your snoozed and your waiting conversations. Done houses your archived and resolved conversations. All in all, this was kind of a big, important kind of confusion or I guess it would help the confusion of when you were using ticketing and not knowing where your waiting conversations were that weren't snoozed. In general, if you haven't leveraged ticket statuses, we do recommend you starting to use that with this new update. If you're looking for spam, trash, these are still available within this More menu. And we've also created a new private tags pinned section, so you can actually collapse this when they're not in use and clear that view. Moving over to the conversation list, first things first, my personal favorite, you can now collapse the sidebar entirely so you can really focus on reading and replying to your customers. We've also introduced reply timers directly on the conversation list itself. So you can actually even hover and see both your reply goals, your reply time goals, and your resolution time goals. We also now have a new sort by time goal, so you can really prioritize on what needs responding first. You can now tab between your tasks and your discussions, depending on what you're needing to focus on at any given moment. And if we move over to the conversation itself, you can now see at the top here, we have a much more compact header than we had before, where you can really see everything that's key surface up at the very top. Tags that are highlighted in the conversation list are always by default prioritized on the conversation itself so that they're consistent and easier to reference at all times. In general, it's just easier to both add and reference things like custom fields, objects, link conversations. One specific call out that I would want to make is the improvements we made to link conversations in terms of how you're visualizing how your conversations are linked together. There are actually a ton more quality of life improvements that I can't get into in the next few minutes, but we highly encourage you to try it out on your own, give us your feedback. I really want to remind everyone, this is not the finish line. It's the foundation for what's next. We're setting a new standard for how you work in front, and we deeply believe that your feedback is going to help shape what we build next. And I think that is all for me, but I will stop sharing and we can jump into a live Q&A to join with Paul and Kevin.
Hey, everyone. All right, so we see a huge number of questions, so we will try to get through as many of these as we can. But thank you so much for all of these questions. Okay, so I will just start picking them. All right, so Maria asked, can suggested replies be pulled from existing reply templates? That is a great question. That actually went live last week. So we are now generating suggested replies that follow templates if we have them. Dustin asked, what LLM is Front working with to achieve the agentic operation? Is it in-house developed? And also, do we have plans to move away from traditional rule constraints? All right, so two pretty different questions. We'll take them one by one. We work with OpenAI, AWS, and Microsoft Azure. And so we do use these commercial models. Another question that I saw in the list was like, how do we actually use your data? So first of all, full stop, our LLM providers are not allowed to use your data for any purpose. In fact, they don't even store them. They need to delete them basically instantly so that it never actually hits their servers, or it never is saved in their servers. In terms of how we use your data, we only use your data to improve services for your company. Your data is never used to improve services or train models for any other customers. But like, for example, all the Copilot stuff that I was showing you earlier, we have to be able to use your data in your conversations in order to know what the right responses are for your customers. So I think hopefully that addresses the first question. The second one is, all right, are we going to move away from the rules universe? And the question is, yeah, we're going to build on top of the rules universe. In our plans for the agentic release in a couple of months, we're going to introduce this concept of rule instructions, where you're going to be able to not just have a deterministic, like, if this tag is applied or if like this field is true, please run this rule. You will also be able to say, hey, I'm going to write some instructions. Please run this rule when there are these instructions, when the conditions for these instructions are met. And so, yes, for sure, we are going to move towards the world where you have to be less deterministic there. Um, all right. So Catherine asks, a lot of questions that I see creating rules for would be to read records from Salesforce and put that as the response. Do you think that would be possible to pull data from Salesforce? So actually, this is possible today. We have this concept of connectors, which is a no-code concept that allows you to connect to third-party systems like Salesforce through their API to pull information, right? And so, for example, if you needed to figure out when the contract end date was, there's going to be the ability to use the Salesforce API to pull that field and save it in front as a dynamic variable that you can today use in templates. But when we do the next release, be able to use that as part of AI generated responses as well. So yes, for sure. And to Paul's point earlier, when he was talking about how the complex cases are the ones that take the most time, the complex cases are the ones that touch these third-party systems, and those are really the cases that we're really trying to create tools to address.
And Kevin, there's a question from Liz who is asking whether we can pull data from HubSpot too.
Yes, same thing. HubSpot also has a robust API. You can use connectors to do that as well. We do also have more native HubSpot integrations on contacts in particular, but certainly and that's well documented in our Help Center. All right, so there's a question. Do you plan to add any analytics for your automation system? Yes, that is, we just went through Q3 planning. That is a core item in our Q3 roadmap.
Sorry, Kevin, you're getting all of these, like all of the AI questions.
No, I saw one.
Interest, clearly.
So Kieran asked a question for you, Maggie. The new inbox look is live. My team wants to know when the ability to switch back to the old look will be removed. Do you have a date where everyone on the new look will be on the new look with no ability to switch back?
Yes, thanks, Kevin, for that question. Yes, right now we're aiming for it to be in early August. You'll have it for the next few weeks to transition between the old and new UI. Rest assured, I'm personally reading literally every single email that's coming in from the support inbox. So I think another few folks asked, like, where do we send feedback? You can reach us at support@front.com like you always have. And I and the team on the background have been really just like diligently going through and prioritizing things. And I mentioned earlier today, we are actually shipping daily improvements. Like every day we're shipping improvements. We're looking at the feedback. So you'll see more. Again, like this is not the finish line. There's much more to come.
Yeah. Jamie asked, it seems like much of Front's AI features are focused on email, and we are primarily SMS customer. Can you speak to plans for SMS support? So yes, absolutely. Going omnichannel is a core goal of ours. Topics and Summarize will be omnichannel across SMS, WhatsApp, live chat portal by the end of July. So like in the next couple of weeks. And then, the rest of Copilot the rest of Copilot will start supporting SMS and WhatsApp and portal and live chat by mid-September. And so we are trying to make it a priority for us to build an experience that is consistent across all the channels. And if you take a step back, as we're starting to build this we call it a knowledge layer internally, but like as this consistent source of knowledge that from your past conversations as well as knowledge base, you want the same responses across all these channels, right? And so you don't want a fragmented stack where you might be having different automation for email versus SMS, and that's something we're trying to solve. All right, a few more minutes. So we have a question about topics. I already see topics being duplicated. Will AI automatically group them through time, or how does that work? Yes, so we have a long list of improvements from, as Maggie said, all the feedback that y'all have been giving us. And also, yeah, I, as well as my colleagues on the product team, definitely read these. And so we are prioritizing this. We know that topic duplication is a common situation. One of the things that we're going to introduce shortly is merge, so that you can choose, like, select 5 different topics and then merge them into one easily. Of course, we also want to do that algorithmically as well. But we're trying to figure out that piece. But the merge piece is designed and will go into development shortly. And then, I mean, this is a related question, but we will also be adding the capability where when new topics emerge, we will detect them and add them automatically as well. All right. I know we're at time, so I'll just take one final question, which is, so Nate wanted to clarify, front AI solutions had previously been totally dependent on knowledge base, but now it can leverage historical human responses. Is that right? And so, yes, that's right. From the feedback that we were hearing from y'all around how that is a big lift and you don't have the resources necessarily to do that, we decided to take on the heavy lifting of pulling out this information. Now, like, the types of things that we're doing are, when there are multiple conversations that conflict, we flag that and we won't generate a suggested reply because we don't know which one is authoritative. And what's coming on our roadmap is to flag that for you so that you can tell us which one's authoritative, right? So there are all these complications that come from using conversations, but since that reduces the friction for you, that's something that we have chosen to tackle.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Thanks everyone for joining. Like, we have, I think we've exploded our Q&A, counter. So we're gonna try to find a way to, like, answer the questions separately. But thanks so much for joining. I hope that was informative, useful, and you're excited about what's coming. And we'll be excited to share about what our next capabilities will be in a few months as we are building them for you. So thanks everyone. Talk soon.